Good morning, children. In the last class, we have learned about what are the type of changes, and also we discussed about what is meant by physical change and chemical change, isn't it? So this class we will discuss about physical change and chemical change and their examples as well as their illustration part. Okay, illustration part. Along with that, some conditions are required for a chemical change to take place, and what are the differences between physical change and chemical change? What are the indications we can observe during chemical reaction? So these things we will discuss today, right? First, let me move to physical changes. So what is meant by physical change? A physical change is a temporary change, and also it is a reversible change. So the physical change is a reversible change, and also it is a temporary change. Here, no new substance is formed in physical change, isn't it? Right. Let me move to the example part now. First example, take some wax. Okay, take some wax and heat it. So what do you observe? You will observe the wax, it starts melting, and very soon on cooling, again the wax comes back to its original state of matter. Okay, here there is no new substance is formed. Also, it is a reversible change. The change can be reversible, and it is a temporary change only. It is not a permanent change. Okay. Hence, it is the melting of wax is an example of physical change. Right. Next example. Second example. What is this? Yes. For this example, you have to take some ice cubes. Okay, and keep it on the table. After few minutes, you will observe water is coming out from that ice, isn't it? Ice started melting and it turns into liquid, that is water. If you heat this water, what do you observe? You will observe vapors coming out from that water, isn't it? If you allow this vapors to condensate, again that vapors turns into liquid, and keep this liquid on the refrigerator, you will get the solid, that is you will get the ice. Ice is a solid, isn't it? Here changes takes place only in the state of matter. No new substance is formed. Also it is a temporary change. Okay. See here, this is ice. Ice is a solid. So ice on melting turns into liquid. This liquid on boiling turns into vapor. Again, if you condensate that vapor, it turns into liquid. If you refrigerate that liquid, you will get the ice. So ice is a solid, right? So this is an example of physical change, right? Next we can move to the illustration part. Illustration means to prove something, right? First, for this illustration, you need iodine. Iodine is a chemical element with the symbol I. Okay. Iodine is mainly used to cure and treat iodine deficiency, and also it is used as an antiseptic. Okay. First, what you have to take? You have to take some iodine, crystals of iodine. It just looks like black crystals. Okay. Take some iodine crystals in a china dish. Okay. China dish actually it is used in the chemistry laboratory. It is an evaporating dish. It is mainly used for evaporating, boiling the solutions. Okay. It is made of porcelain. Okay. First what you have to take? You have to take some solid iodine in a china dish. Next what you have to do? You have to close that china dish with an inverted funnel. Okay. You have to close the china dish with an inverted funnel. So actually this is a wash glass only. This is not china dish. This is wash glass. Just I am saying this for example purpose only. Consider this is the china dish. Okay. This is the funnel. You have to, in the china dish, what you have to do? You have to keep some solid iodine. Okay, crystals. And then close the china dish with the help of the inverted funnel. With the help of a funnel, you have to keep that funnel in the inverted position like this. Okay, like this you have to close it. And this is the stem of the funnel, isn't it? So the stem of the funnel you have to close with the cotton plug. Okay, you have to close the stem of the funnel with the cotton plug. Next, what you have to do? You have to heat the china dish. Okay. After some time, you will observe that vapors coming out from the china dish. Okay, isn't it? These vapors escape into the stem of the funnel. Again, it condenses back into solid iodine again. Okay. So here changes takes place only in the state of matter. We are not getting any new product from this reaction. Okay. So it is a temporary change, and here the change is reversible process only. It is a reversible change. Okay. So sublimation process. First, what you have to do? Okay, you have to take the solid iodine. If you heat that solid iodine, it turns into vapors. Okay, that vapors again on condensation, it turns into solid iodine. Okay, change takes place only in the state of matter, right? So it is one of the example for sublimation process. Sublimation means what? Sublimation means the change of state from solid to vapor or solid to gas. Okay, the change of state from solid to gaseous state is known as the sublimation process, right? So the vapors coming out from that iodine, isn't it? That time it looks very beautiful. Violet color vapors coming out from the solid iodine on heating. Again it condenses back into solid again, right? Okay, so it is a physical change. Next we can move to chemical change, right? One more example we can see for a physical change. One more example, that is illustration part we can see. For this you take one glass beaker, half of the beaker filled with water, okay, and then add some sugar crystals into the water, mix it well, right? Okay, so now the sugar completely gets dissolved in water. Now taste the solution, sugar solution. It tastes sweet, isn't it? Why? Because the molecules which is present in the sugar evenly distributed in the water. That is why the whole liquid tastes sweet, right? Next step, you have to boil that sugar solution. After some time, you will observe all the sugar particles settle at the bottom of the beaker, right? Here, the changes takes place only in the state of matter. Hence, it is a physical change, right? Next, we can move to chemical changes. What is meant by chemical change? A chemical change is an irreversible change. It is a permanent change, and also new substance is formed during chemical reaction. These are known as chemical changes, isn't it? Let me see some examples for chemical change. Okay, first one, rusting of iron is due to the formation of iron oxide. Okay, iron when it comes into contact with moisturized air and water, it forms a new product that is called iron oxide. So iron oxide is a new substance, isn't it? Also, this change cannot be reversed. It is an irreversible change. Hence, rusting of iron is a chemical change only, right? Second one, burning of coal to form charcoal. So, if you burn coal, it changes into charcoal. What is the difference between coal and charcoal? Coal is a natural mineral, whereas charcoal is a man-made mineral. Okay, this is the difference between coal and charcoal, right? If you burn coal, it changes into charcoal. Charcoal is a new substance. Okay, so new product is formed here, hence it is a chemical change. Next one, burning of magnesium produces a white ash of magnesium oxide. If you burn magnesium ribbon, okay, in the presence of oxygen, it turns into magnesium oxide. This magnesium oxide is a new substance. You cannot get magnesium from this magnesium oxide. Okay, hence it is a irreversible change. You cannot change the change cannot be reversible here. Okay, it is a permanent change. So magnesium oxide, a new product is formed. This is a chemical change only, right? Next one, calcium carbonate on heating forms calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. If you heat the calcium carbonate, two new products are formed. One is the calcium oxide, another one is carbon dioxide gas is released. New substances are formed here. These are permanent change. Also, it is an irreversible change. Okay, so it is one of the example for chemical change. Next one, sulfur burns with blue color flame. When heated, produces sulfur dioxide which comes out with a suffocating smell. When you burn sulfur in air, it forms a new product that is called sulfur dioxide SO2. It is a very toxic and poisonous gas. Okay, it comes out with suffocating smell. Suffocating means extreme irritateness. Okay, extreme irritation takes place. We cannot inhale that gas. It is a poisonous gas. So sulfur dioxide is a new product which we are getting from sulfur which burns in air. Okay, so it is a permanent change. It is an example for chemical change, right? So next we can move to illustration part 1, which we are seeing actually now. What is that physical change or chemical change? We are discussing now chemical change, isn't it? In that we are going to discuss about the illustration 1. The first one, take a few moist iron fillings, keep them exposed to air. Okay, take some iron fillings and expose it to air. After few days, you will observe a brown color, turning of brown color in that iron powder. Okay, in that iron fillings. That is called the rust. The brown product we are getting now, that is called rust. Actually, iron cannot attracted by the magnet. Okay, we cannot attract the iron powder will not get attracted by the magnet. You cannot get back the iron again. Okay, so it is one of the chemical change. First, what we have to do, take some iron fillings and open it and expose it to moisturized air. Okay. After few days, you will observe brown color product comes out from the iron fillings. It is nothing but you can say it as rust. Okay. It is brown in color. So you cannot get back the iron from this iron powder. Okay. It is a permanent change. So you cannot get back the substance again. Hence it is a chemical change. Second one is formation of curd from milk. So this is due to fermentation process. What is meant by fermentation? Breaking of large organic molecules into simpler components are called fermentation. Okay, so formation of curd from milk. This is also due to fermentation process only, right? It is a chemical change. So changing milk into curd is a chemical change. Next, burning of sulfur. Sulfur when it reacts with oxygen, okay, sulfur powder when it reacts with oxygen, it forms a gas, sulfur dioxide gas is formed and sulfur always burns with blue color flame. Okay, sulfur dioxide is a poisonous gas. So when sulfur burns, it is a chemical change only, right? Next one. For a chemical change to take place, certain conditions are required. One is ordinary condition, another one is the specified condition. Okay. For ordinary condition, already we have discussed. Iron, when it comes into contact with moisturized air, iron oxide is formed. Okay. That is iron oxide means it is nothing but rust. Rusting takes place. Brown color layer formed in that iron, isn't it? That is called rusting. Next one, serving of milk. Serving of milk is due to lactic acid which is present in the milk. Okay. So these chemical changes takes place at ordinary conditions. Okay. Now come to the specified conditions. That specified condition, first let me discuss about close contact. Okay. When two substances comes into contact with each other, a new product is formed. This is called a close contact. Okay. For example, see nitrogen, when it reacts with oxygen, it forms a compound nitric oxide. Okay, nitrogen, when it reacts with oxygen, it forms a product nitric oxide. N2 is nitrogen, O2 is oxygen. Both the substances combined, when it comes into close contact with each other, this new product is formed. 2NO is nitric oxide. Okay, this NO is nothing but nitric oxide. So, some chemical substances, when it comes into contact with each other, the reaction actually takes place only in the physical states. Okay. So chemical reactions can take place only when the substances comes into contact with each other. This is the close contact. So second, let us see iron powder when it combines with the sulfur, iron fillings, when it combines with the sulfur powder and heat it, you will get a new product iron sulfide. Iron sulfide is FeS. Okay. Fe is iron, yes, sulfur is S. Both combines to form on heating process. This is nothing but heating process takes place during chemical reaction. Okay. So iron, when it reacts with the sulfur on heating process, it turns into iron sulfide, that is FeS. So this is close contact. Close contact means what? When two substances comes into contact with each other. These two substances, when it comes into contact with each other, a new product is formed. Here also these two substances react to form a new product. This is the close contact. Okay. So second one, we can move to heat. For some chemical reactions, heat is very essential. For example, if you take a small amount of lead nitrate solution in a dry test tube, okay, heat that test tube. After some time, you will observe the cracking sound comes out from the test tube, and also at the same time you can observe there is an evolution or liberation of reddish brown colored gas. That gas is known as nitrogen dioxide gas. Okay, so for some chemical reactions to take place, heat is necessary. Okay, heat is necessary for some chemical reaction to take place. See here, PbNO3 twice is nothing but lead nitrate. This lead nitrate on heating, it forms a new product PbO. PbO is lead oxide, as well as nitrogen dioxide gas is liberated. NO2 is nitrogen dioxide gas, along with that oxygen gas is liberated. Okay, here we have to mention the physical state, reactant. What is the reactant? Whether the reactant comes under solid or liquid or gas, we have to mention here. Lead nitrate is a solid, lead oxide is a solid, whereas nitrogen dioxide is a gas and oxygen is also gas. Okay, so for some chemical reactions to take place, heat is very essential, right? Next one, we can move to light. What will happen if there is no sunlight? All the living organisms will be affected and we cannot get food for survival, isn't it? So sunlight is very important, not only for us, even for plants also. Plants prepare their own food, okay, in the presence of sunlight. That is the photosynthesis process. You know about photosynthesis. Photo means light, whereas synthesis means production, light production, right? So for some chemical reactions to take place, light is very essential. Okay. So some chemical reactions to take place, light is very important. One more example we can see. H2 is hydrogen. When it reacts with the Cl2 is chlorine. Okay. In the presence of light, it forms a new compound, hydrogen chloride. H2 is hydrogen. Cl2 is chlorine. Hydrogen, when it reacts with chlorine, it forms a new product HCl, hydrogen chloride. So light is very essential for most of the chemical reactions. Okay. So next we can move to electricity. Electricity is very essential for our life, isn't it? So in our day-to-day life, we use electricity for heating, lighting, grinding, cooking, and for charging mobiles, watching television. For all this purpose, we need electricity, isn't it? You know very well, water is composed of hydrogen and oxygen molecules, right? When electricity is passed through water, okay, with a little amount of sulfuric acid, hydrogen and oxygen gases are liberated. Okay, so some chemical reactions can take place only by the passage of electricity. Okay, so some chemical reactions can take place only by the passage of electricity. Next, we can move to pressure. Pressure is very important for solubility of gas into water. For example, we can say aerated drinks like Pepsi, Coca-Cola. Okay, in Pepsi and Coca-Cola, carbon dioxide gas is dissolved in water, right? See here, nitrogen, when it reacts with the hydrogen, both combines at 300 to 500 atmospheric pressure and forms a new product ammonia, that is NH3. Okay, nitrogen when it reacts with the hydrogen at the atmospheric pressure is 300 to 500 atmospheric pressure, it turns into ammonia, that is NH3. Okay, so pressure is also important. Next we can move to catalyst. What is meant by catalyst? In some industries, some chemical reactions, catalysts are mainly used to speed up the chemical reactions. Okay, in some industries, catalysts are used. Catalysts are nothing but chemical substances which are used to speed up the chemical reactions. These are called catalysts. Okay, so all these things are very important for a chemical change to take place. Close contact, electricity, heat, light, pressure, catalyst, all these things are very essential, right? Next we can move to indication of chemical changes. We can observe during chemical changes, we can observe some indications. What are they? Change of color. Change of color we can observe. One color changes into another color. And then production of heat, production of light, production of sound, okay, and then evolution of gases. Okay, here we saw, isn't it? So in this process, in the heat process, we see, isn't it, oxygen gas as well as nitrogen dioxide gas liberated, no? So evolution is nothing but liberation of gases, formation of precipitate, production of sound, electricity and light, production of heat, change of color. These are some of the indications that we observe during chemical changes, right? So next we can move to what is the difference between physical change and chemical change. First one, physical change. This change is a temporary change only, okay, but chemical change is a permanent change. Next one, physical change is a reversible change. The change can be reversed here. But if you take the chemical change, that changes are irreversible change. These changes cannot be reversed. Next, in physical change, no new substance is formed, whereas in chemical change, new substance is formed. We got new substances here, isn't it? Iron sulfide is a new substance, nitric oxide is a new substance, lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide, oxygen gas. These are nothing but new substances. So in physical changes, no new substance is formed, whereas in chemical changes, new substances are formed. Right? Next, in physical change, no energy change takes place, whereas in chemical change, energy changes takes place. So these are the differences between physical change and chemical change. Right, children? I told you know about the close contact. When your matchstick is rubbed on the sides of the matchbox, okay, when a matchstick is rubbed on the sides of the matchbox, what do you observe now? You will observe the light, heat as well as smoke is evolved, isn't it? Why? Because the sides of the matchbox contains red phosphorus whereas the matchstick end contains two chemical substances. One is the potassium chlorate, another one is the antimony trisulfide. Okay, here these chemical substances, when it comes into contact with each other, a new product is formed. That is evolution of heat, light, as well as smoke is formed. Okay, so this is one of the example for the close contact. Okay, children. So today you will get the assignment, complete the assignment and go through what are the things we have done. The remaining we will discuss in the Zoom session.